chief guest for the occasion, Shri Justice Pramod Kohli. Kohli ji was born at Rajouri in 1951. He graduated from Government Gandhi Memorial Science College and passed law from University of Jammu in 1972. He was appointed as Additional Advocate General, later Advocate General of Jammu. In 2003, Kohli ji was appointed as Additional Judge of the Jammu and Kashmir High Court. Thereafter, he was transferred to the Jharkhand High Court in 2006. He also became the judge of Punjab and Haryana High Court in 2007. On 12 December 2011, Justice Kohli ji was elevated to the post of Chief Justice of Sikkim High Court. After retirement, he was appointed as the Chairman of Central Administrative Tribunal. He has conducted cases on constitutional, civil, service, taxation, and various legal branches of law and remained legal advisor to Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine Board and Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University till elevation. Conferred degree of Doctor of Literature by Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak in 2017. Was conferred Capital Foundation Justice P.N. Bhagwati Award in recognition of outstanding work in the field of access to justice and law reforms by His Excellency Dr. Pranab Mukherjee, former President of India in 2017. I take great pleasure in inviting Shri Justice Pramod Kohli ji to address us. Welcome, sir.
Professor Y.S. Murthy, Professor Purushottam Reddy, Shri Pankaj Vohra, and Shilpa Krishna. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be part of this debate today evening, which is of so importance and relevance. As important is the existence of humanity. Democracy as a concept is something which is talked about every day and night. All intellectuals, all politicians talk of democracy. Academicians talk of democracy. The question arises, are we observing the real concept of democracy? As we all know that in common parlance, the democracy is a system of governance in which laws, policies, and including the leadership is decided by the people. Professor Purushottam Reddy was talking about the dynasty. Is it in consonance with the concept of democracy? Professor Murthy was talking about the hate speeches. Is it in consonance with the concept of democracy? And simple answer would be no. We are many thinkers, many philosophers have given the definition of democracy in their own fields, in their own style. In Indian concept, we normally speak of democracy means government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This is in simple words, the definition of democracy. But one definition with which I am really impressed was one Larry Diamond, who described democracy as a system of governance with 4 key elements. The 4 key elements defined by him are a system for choosing and replacing the government through free and fair elections, active participation of people as citizens in politics and civic life, protection of human rights of all citizens, and a rule of law in which laws and procedures apply equally to all citizens. To my mind, this definition takes into its fold the real concept of democracy, which takes into consideration all the dimensions of democracy, which are ultimately lead to the welfare of the common man. In India, the concept of democracy is so comprehensive that one cannot think of anything beyond that. And the concept of democracy well embedded in our constitution scheme. When constitutional frame was being framed, our constitutional framers had the occasion to deal with, to consider many constitutions of the world. And ultimately, the one document which is so visionary has come into existence. The preamble of the Constitution itself speaks of the democratic values, where the concept of justice is not confined only to the legal justice, but speaks of justice, social, economic, and political. Similarly, concept of liberty is not only the expression, thought, expression, belief, but even faith and worship also. Similarly, the concept of equality includes opportunity to promote among them all kinds of fraternity, dignity, individual dignity. And after the amendment, we know all our students of law, or at least learned people, that by amendment, the concept of unity and integrity of nation was also included in the concept of democracy. What is happening today is antithesis of democracy. We have two parts of the Constitution which contain all the concepts of democracy. That's part 3, which deals with the fundamental rights. It starts from Article 14 and continues Article 14, equality, prohibition of discrimination, Article 15, equality of opportunity in public employment, then abolition of untouchability, Article 17, protection of certain rights of, then Article 19, freedom of speech, peaceful assembly, association and union, so and so on. What I'm trying to say is that our Constitution has all the concepts of democracy which can be envisaged and which can be envisioned, which can be thought of. Therefore, the India is a democratic country and is one of the 4 top democratic countries in the world. But the question arises that are we practicing democracy as a concept, or democracy is being used and abused as a tool by various governments, by even the people, even the political class of the country. Today, the concept of democracy means only the rights and no obligation, no duty. Everybody, when speaks of democracy, speaks of the human rights, speaks of the right to roads, speaks of right to electricity, right to water, and all basic rights, which are, of course, the concepts of democracy. But does it mean that we have no rights as a citizen, as a people of this country, who are governing ourselves, who are regulating the conduct of ourselves, or have no duty, no right, despite the fact that Article 51A was introduced in the Constitution and certain kind of duties were thought of and introduced, which every citizen should observe. But what is happening? The practice is other way around. We only speak of right. I have yet to come across any political party which speaks of the duties of the nation, the duties of the common man towards the nation, towards the human rights, towards the other factors which constitute the democracy. Therefore, that is what I say, is that we are sometimes using the democracy as a tool. It has also been observed that sometimes the democracy means mobocracy. We have dharnas, hartals, and will continue for months and years together. Or we have courts. We have courts to redress their grievances, but we adopt the means which are said to be democratic, but virtually they destroy the very democracy itself. Can we stop a person from free movement from one place to another? No, that's a constitutional provision. But we are doing it. And whatever may be the provocation, whatever may be the grievance, can it be solved by this way? Is it a democratic process? I would respectfully say that it is not. Friends, free and fair election is a fundamental to the democracy. For the last many decades, we're observing that the free and fair election does not take place. The cost factor, the corruption, the expenditure, and in recent about two to three decades, a new dimension has been added to destroy the free and fair election. That is the freebies. The political parties say that these are our programs. But what kind of programs are these? You give free water to everybody, free light. In Tamil Nadu, free televisions, free mobiles, free laptops, and what not. Are these the issues which promote the democracy or which destroy the democracy or are being used as a tool in the name of the democracy? I can understand, and as people say, that the deserving people must be given and brought at par with the well-off people in order to enforce the right of equality. Yes, very well. I don't need free electricity. I don't need free water. Professor Reddy may not need free water. Mr. Pankaj Bora may not need free water, free electricity. But the governments are giving these, the political parties are propagating these schemes to buy votes. Is it not a corruption? Is it not a political corruption? And from where the money comes? It's a public money which is required for the common use, common welfare of the common man, for construction of roads, for infrastructure, for providing education to the children. I remember Mahatma Gandhi said, if you want to have peace in the world, you should educate your children. We are still lacking. So far the education of children is concerned, in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, in so many other parts of the country, even today, the children are studying under the trees. What kind of our future generations are becoming? And still we talk of democracy. Hate speeches. Hate speeches is become a common phenomenon. Few days back, Mr. Owaisi was in UP and he openly threatened the majority community. There are threats to minority communities. These are all antitheses of democracy, and we are destroying the democracy by our actions. Who has failed the democracy? Our political class, and with great respect, we the people for whom the democratic concepts have been carved out. We are trying to fail our democracy ourselves. There is no external force to destroy our democracy. For little benefits, for little favors, we destroy the democracy. Therefore, the danger to the democracy is not from terrorists, is not from other countries, but the danger to democracy is from within. And for that, we must educate ourselves, we must upgrade ourselves, we must change our thought process. And as everybody has spoken, I do not know much about Shri Jaipal Reddy, except that I know him as a good politician, a humble politician, a vibrant politician, I have heard his speeches in Parliament and elsewhere also. We must follow such persons, such concepts which promote the democratic process, which are for the common welfare of the student, whichever party he belongs. It's not a question of following a particular party, a particular thought process, particular philosophy, or particular kind of system. We must follow all those who promote the human values, who promote the freedom of elections, who promote the rule of law, and overall the welfare of a common man. A common man definitely needs free education, free water, free electricity. But why? Free electricity, free water, free televisions across the India. All political parties are doing this. Are they acting democratically? My humble submission is that we must, all of us must concentrate and focus on these issues, that it must stop. And even if one needs to go to a court to stop this wastage of public money, to misuse of abuse of public money, we have advertisements. Advertisements you see on TV. Out of 24 hours, we have advertisements for about 4 to 5 hours. Whose money is it? We have newspapers, full-page advertisements. Whose money is it? Why we are spending this money? Is it for democratic values? Is it for human values? Is it for common welfare of the people? Not at all. These are the areas of concern which should be taken up by all of us. And I think that the real concept of democracy we must respect and work in tandem, whichever field you belong, whichever party you belong, whatever may be your philosophy, whatever may be your religion. It is a common thing which all of us who believe in democracy, who believe in democratic values, must continue to share. I am grateful to the foundation for inviting me to this evening to participate in this debate, which is of so relevant today that there is a need to have many more seminars, many more webinars, many more debates. And I'm happy that I have the occasion to hear very learned people who were working in this field for the last many years. I am grateful to all of you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Are we observing democracy? Are we using it as a tool, or are we abusing it? Isn't duties as important as rights? Is populist schemes the right way to address equality? Is it democracy or corruption? Hate speeches by both majority and minority? Who has failed democracy? Is it just the external forces or just the internal forces? Thank you, sir, for broadening our outlook with these questions that you have raised. We look forward to more of these, debates and discussions. As we come to the last part of the webinar, I thank our chief guest and distinguished speakers for agreeing to be part of this webinar within a short notice. I thank the participants for taking time out and joining us virtually. I would like to thank Srimati Lakshmi Jaipal Reddy Garu, Shri S. Arvind Reddy, Shri S. Anand Reddy, and their family members. Special thanks to Shri Vinod Sethi, Secretary General at Capital Foundation Society, for his valuable time and support. I would like to conclude the webinar by quoting a passage from the book 10 Ideologies, The Great Asymmetry Between Agrarianism and Industrialism, written by Jaipal sir. We are living in an age of unprecedented prosperity. What is more, we are torn by apocalyptic conflicts. On top of everything else, we are confronted with bewildering intellectual confusions spawned by extreme divergence in ideologies. There is, therefore, an imperative necessity to rise above the immediate clash of ideological concepts, and develop a larger historical perspective in order to make sense of the current chaos and see the way forward. Thank you all for attending. Happy evening.